Good morning. Yes, it's 3:40 a.m. I've had again very little sleep. I was still awake past midnight, and it's been rough. I'm not going to comment a whole lot on what's been going on in the legal arena. There is a hearing on Friday, and I'll just suffice it to say that I'm still in my home, and nothing will change until after the hearing. And I'm not going to go into, as I said, any more details on that. I'm back to the to the blurb that I wrote a few days, 3-4 days ago, entitled "Brics Nations Lead the Way, Especially China." Consider this, posted as a comment on one of my videos. And again, that was a few days ago. Point 1. China has currency and gold reserves of over $3 billion. They have no estimated or no external debt. They are not a welfare state. Their people are not really invested in stocks. Their people are allowed and encouraged to own physical gold. China holds tens of thousands of tons of physical gold and has fleeced the West of it in the process of accumulation. The West had radically suppressed the dollar price of physical gold because they can, for now, using false paper gold, but not for much longer. There is a planned launch of a Yuan-denominated benchmark price for physical gold in April 2016, but ready to roll now. China has built CIPS, that's Chartered Institute of Procurement and Supply, an alternative dollar settlement system competitive to SWIFT, and it is operative. China has arranged some 32 yuan currency swap facilities with nations around the world and negotiated mega long-term non-dollar and barter trade agreements around the world. China has been buying assets around the world with their trade surpluses and via the dumping of U.S. treasuries. China and the rest of the Brics founded the AIIB, which is the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, with much Western participation. The AIIB and the Brics Bank are viable alternatives to the World Bank and the IMF. Indeed, there's been a lot of positive changes that have been happening, and China is one of the nations that this has been going on. And of course, Brics, for those of you that don't know, is Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Those are the so-called Brics nations, but there are many other countries that have joined Brics and are working with this new alliance to change the world order. Not a new world order based in England and coming out of the papacy and coming out of Washington, D.C., the three city-states, of course, that have not only ruled but raped the world for a long, long time. China and Russia and the Brics nations will, as I see it, ensure a more reasonable financial system that will enable us to actually begin to be free. I mean, we can never be free under a slave system that, like, had been erected in the West under the cabal, or whatever you want to call the Rothschild creation of central banking controlling everything. In the United States now, the price of gasoline where I live is just over $1.70 a gallon. I mean, this was unheard of not very long ago. I mean, it was over $3 a gallon. And I think I can remember times when it was even up pretty close to $4 a gallon, if I'm not mistaken. But whatever, I mean, it has dropped considerably and may continue to drop as this economic battle goes on and as people are drawn in the world away from using the United States dollar. That currency will be devalued, and I'm hoping that they do it in a fair way, that it doesn't hurt the little people. It needs to be devalued by taking back the money from the super rich, the Queen of England, and the people that have benefited by stealing and creating a process where they could create, for every dollar that actually existed, they could create 9, and they totally broke that and were creating a much more rapid pace than a 9-to-1 ratio. It's been fraud on top of fraud on top of fraud, and it has created all the wars. It has created all the problems that we've had to deal with for such a long time. I don't believe there will be a World War III. If the World War III is going on right now, and it's an economic war, I believe that the United States will lose it, and good riddance. It needs to lose it. It needs to stop playing the policeman of the world and trying to enforce this cabal's greedy notions that it has to have allegiance of all the other nations. I mean, in Latin America, I mean, the nations have been trying to stand on their own for the most part for a long time, and well, this is happening. This is happening around the world. England. I think even England is going to cave in. I think it's going to leave the United States. Canada has things going on right now that indicate that people are waking up there, and they're not going to be playing the game. I think I'm not sure about where Australia is. I haven't really communicated with my friends from Australia, and I was part of the Australian delegation in Swiss Indo, but I haven't been involved in that. Somebody had a video that I was still, and Peter Van Runt were still involved in Swiss Indo. That hasn't been true for 3 years, 2.5, 3 years, or something like that. I mean, once I got involved with the ambassador, I wasn't involved with Swiss Indo anymore, and I haven't been involved with the ambassador since last October, around my birthday, and everything there ended. So right now, I have no alliance. I do have the National Liberty Alliance. I'm still a member there, and I like a lot of the things that they're doing, and want to see them actually take root in reestablishing common law in the United States, and I'd like to see that established around the world, because common law, as it was set up after the Magna Carta, and as it worked for a number of years, depending on who the King of England was, it allowed the financial system to flow, and it allowed people to prosper. That all ended when they, and certain things that took place after the Civil War, and actually the Civil War, some people say, was fought as a result of the bankers starting to take control. That Abraham Lincoln, of course, was the first lawyer to be president of the United States, which was against the original Constitution. So anyway, my point is, there's a lot happening in the world that's going to change it, and I see it as positive changes. People are beginning to wake up. People are beginning to realize the scam that's been going on for a long time, and the scam has to end. The people that have been in control and have been responsible for the corruption, they need to have their wealth stolen, at least down to the point where they just have a basic roof over their head, if they're allowed any freedom at all. And there's an awful lot of people that have to pay a high price for the crimes that they've committed against life, against humanity, and against God and God's creation. And I do hope that God finally raises up people that are strong enough, and empowers people that are strong enough to make the positive changes that need to be made